Hey guys, this is Brandon McCaskill with the Safari Arie Road Show. We got Ari with us today. Ari, how you doing?
Awesome. How about you?
Good. So we've gone through Saskatchewan. You're in Alberta now, but you've gone through Saskatchewan, and we didn't
Yes.
make a Safari Arie Road Show about it. So that's what this episode is about. Can you backtrack a little bit? Tell us
Yes.
how Saskatchewan was, what was going on?
Yeah. So for sure, Saskatchewan.
Mhm.
Um, when I entered Saskatchewan, I had basically no expectations.
Mhm.
Saskatchewan truly exceeded my expectations for sure. I don't know if that's an oxymoron to have none and then to be exceeded, but um, Saskatchewan was physically tough
Yeah.
in the sense that it was just relentless sun. It was just sun, 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 and there was just no escaping the elements. And then there was a tremendous amount of headwinds
Yeah.
most of the days that I was pedaling through. So it was pretty demanding province for sure.
Mhm.
Um, but I really, really actually enjoyed Saskatchewan on many levels. So I actually did a fair amount off the Trans Canada.
Mhm.
Saskatchewan is about 650 kilometers wide, and I actually pedaled about 805 kilometers. So I did do some detouring, and in my opinion, that made like all the set, or so not all this, all the difference to get off the highway. In
Right.
many ways, it almost seemed like the true and real Saskatchewan was actually off the highway.
Hmm.
Um, in once, like for example, a lot of people talk about the vastness and the fields of wheat going as far as the eye can see.
Yeah.
I It's interesting because being in the truck, I've been through Saskatchewan a bunch of times, but I never really had that appreciation that people talked about. And it was really weird because I really couldn't even understand what they're talking. Because I mean, when I would like, it just always seemed to be clumps of trees here and there, and it wasn't so much like as far as the eye can see, really.
Yeah.
But when you got off the highway, oh my goodness, yeah, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, it was almost like a psychological experience. Like it's kind of hard to articulate because I've never really had that before. Because
Hmm.
just being on a bicycle and just literally biking the entire day and nothing changes. It's just as far as the eye can see, just flat and just wheat or whatever crop it is,
Brutal.
and just for days on end, and just literally no escape from the heat, no escape from the sun, no escape from the elements, no shade, no nothing. It's just as far as the eye can see.
Wow.
And it was a really interesting experience. I had never really kind of experienced that, whatever sensation, the like I said, just that exposure to the elements and the landscape. It was a really interesting experience. So I
Wow.
totally appreciate that.
So
I
there's like
guess I
no, sorry, there's
sorry.
just like no houses or anything out there, right? Just all
Well, it's not like I mean, there are the farms, but that's the thing
right,
is
right.
like most of the farms, even the farms have like, it seems like, maybe it was only like maybe 5 kilometer long driveways, but it seems like or it seemed like the farms, their driveways were like 20 kilometers off the highway.
Holy
Like
smokes.
that's crazy. You know what I mean? Most people's
Yeah,
driveway is like 100 feet off the street.
yeah.
And these farms, it was like they were so far in the
Hmm.
distance that it seemed like it was 20 kilometers down the driveway to get to their house.
Wow.
Um, and so, yeah, it was crazy.
That's
Um,
insane.
yeah. So, I mean, I think I spent about 10 days pedaling across.
10
I
days?
think I only had one shower the whole time.
Holy Toledo.
Um, when I got into Saskatchewan, I actually very quickly got off the Trans Canada and ended up doing 38 kilometers on gravel in a headwind, and the
Hmm.
gravel was soft. And I tell you, that just about nearly killed me.
Wow.
38 kilometers of gravel in a headwind. I got to be honest. At the end of that day, I mean, I was hating on Saskatchewan pretty badly. I knew I would get over it. I knew I would be able to reflect back and, hey, I did
Yeah.
it. I conquered it. But I just 38, it just killed me. I just I was so angry because what happened is I was on this paved road and all of a sudden the pavement stopped. And I was like, what just happened? And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, all you can do is keep pedaling forward. And then in the end, it was like 38 kilometers. Oh my goodness. But anyways,
Sounds rough.
looking back, glad I did it. It was an experience.
Oh, that's for sure, right?
Anyways, Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan.
Yep.
Very cool, very awesome city. Tons of things to see. They're actually, guess they're kind of famous for their murals. I went into the downtown and you go through the streets and you'll see murals here, murals there. And what was actually kind of weird was, you look behind you and all of a sudden you see a mural that was down this side street or something that you missed. And so you turn around and you go there and you take a photo of that. But then, now you're on the side street and then there's another mural. And then you go to that one, you take a photo, and then you look down this alleyway and there's a mural in the alleyway. And so I was just doing figure eights all over the entire city because everywhere I turned, there was another mural.
Yeah.
So if you're into murals, Moose Jaw is definitely the place to go.
I was just gonna say my town has murals, but it's graffiti. It's not.
Yeah, no graffiti. This is murals.
Cool.
The other thing Moose Jaw has is they have Mac the Moose, which supposedly is the world's largest moose.
Yeah.
I believe they were in a feud with Norway because Norway has this big moose also, but I think they sort of put their feuding aside. But I think, Mac the Moose is supposedly the world's largest moose. The other thing is I also went to visit the Burrowing Owl Interpretive Center. It's not a huge place. They actually only have about 9 owls on display, and I was able to actually see 7 of the 9. Sometimes it's a bit of a challenge because they're in these massive cages, and because they're burrowing owls, they actually live in the ground, so they have these caves, and so there's no guarantee they're going to be out or this or that. But I was actually able to see 7 of the 9. And it was kind of cool. I'd never seen a burrowing owl before. They're a smaller owl. So I really appreciated that. And it's just a free tour. With COVID, you have to call ahead, make an appointment, whatever. Yeah. But just a free tour. So I enjoyed that. Saskatchewan, the people, super, super friendly, super friendly. Whenever I got off the highway and I was on the side roads or side highways, I would say probably 70% of everyone waved at me. It was kind of crazy. It's like you might as well just wave first because they're probably going to wave at you. Yeah. I had awesome hosts in Regina, Chris and Lindsay. That was awesome, and that was a last minute. They just messaged me, "Hey, where are you? And are you in Regina? And anything you need?" And it was all last minute, and that was amazing. In Swift Current, I had to deal with the bike shop, Grant at Pedal Works. He had to look at my trailer wheel. I seem to have these wheel issues. Yeah. Anyways, he didn't have the parts to fix the wheel, but he set me up with a replacement wheel and all on the house and good luck on the road kind of deal. So that was awesome. When I left Swift Current, I took Highway 32. That's just west of Swift Current. That's actually when I was earlier talking about the vastness and just that's where it really was really evident. And part of the reason I took Highway 32 was because I was headed to Great Sandhills Provincial Park. At least I believe it's a provincial park. Yeah. Most people, when they think of Canada, they don't necessarily think of sand dunes. And so, I definitely wanted to check this out. And sure enough, there are sand dunes in Saskatchewan. Weird. And so that was pretty cool. I mean, I had to do some gravel roads to get to there, which wasn't too bad. The next day, leaving the area was when I got back onto the gravel roads. That was a bit tough. Lots of headwinds, soft gravel. So that was a little bit miserable. But it was really weird because when I'm leaving this park down the road, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the prairies on a gravel road, about 25 kilometers from Septra, which is the local village town in that area, there's this church called Blumenfeld Church and Shrine of Our Lady of Sorrows. Okay. Weirdest place for a church, good sized church. Apparently it was the early German settlers in the 1900s that had come to that area. They had built it. Yeah. Anyways, there's this cemetery at the church, and so I check it out because they had these really intricate, weird metal crosses that was just, usually we're sort of so used to the stone gravestones kind of deal. And these were these intricate metal crosses.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm checking them out and I'm reading, and it's like early 1900s and to 1960s or whatever. And then on the other end of the cemetery are just all these white crosses that are just made out of steel, like just flat steel welded, almost like the military crosses, but like just like an inch thick or less. And like no names, no nothing. And it was just, so I'm kind of coming to this conclusion that it's like, okay, so at this end of the cemetery are the people with money that could afford a proper stone or a proper cross of, something creative. And at this end are the people that I guess didn't have any money. But then it's like there was a few stones mixed in there. And then I noticed on those stones, it was actually, they were babies that had died. Because it was like, it was like it said, like baby, or it said like, January 14th, 1960, January 15th, 1960 kind of deal, or sometimes it was a few months or whatever. So, and then, like, I'm just sort of looking at it, and then I realized it was so bizarre. I'm looking at the ground, and you could see in the disturbance of the ground. It was so weird because these graves have been there a long time.
Yeah.
So there should be no disturbance in the ground whatsoever. But you could see the disturbance of where the coffin was. And you could see all, like the whole row of them. And then you realize that the disturbance is actually the same size as the disturbance of where the stone is for the baby. So what I was actually looking at was rows and rows and rows of these babies or children.
Wow.
And that's what the graves were. And I mean, I don't know if there was 100, but I feel like there was 60 or more of them because there was a whole bunch of rows.
Yeah.
And it was just so weird because, like I said, the earth disturbance was just the size of these small coffins. And the weird thing was, is like I said, these were the dates on where there was dates was 1960s or earlier, and you could still see the disturbance in the ground.
Weird.
So that was, it was just, I mean, that's the thing is, sticking to the Trans-Canada, I would never have seen that or experienced that. So, like, I'm so glad I got off the Trans-Canada. And that's the thing. Most cyclists, they're either on the Trans-Canada or the Yellowhead. And I'm just really thankful that I actually took the time, as challenging as Saskatchewan is with the flatness and the prairies. Right. I'm really glad I added to the mileage to just check out Saskatchewan off the highway. So Saskatchewan, while I didn't anticipate too much, it was actually, it was a really cool experience for sure.
Well,
for sure.
Good. Right on. Well, awesome. Thanks for giving us that update.
Yeah, no problems.
Guys, thanks for watching the Safari Arie Road Show. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. Leave us a comment. Give this video a thumbs up, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks, Arie.
Later.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.